Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 9th August 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see today's quote. So actually, today's Hindu newspaper, that is e-paper, had not been published. So I waited till 6:30 and it was like 6:45. And I did some articles and I searched some articles from Google and I came up with this Hindi analysis. Especially I don't want to disappoint you people and I don't want to discourage you people because many students, they are watching this news analysis. Yes, so because of that I got motivated and I searched a number of articles, and actually today the video had been posted late, I know. Okay, so I can't do anything. So Hindu newspaper had been not published. So I came up with this session. Okay, so now let us try to see today's quote. So today's quote is, life is like a mirror. So life is like a mirror. It will smile at you if you smile at it. Have a good day. So our life is also like a mirror. So whatever the things that you are doing, so that will reflect, right? So try to do hard work, and this hard work will help to achieve your dream so that you will be becoming happy throughout your life. So have a good day. And this quote will boost your preparation, right? So now let us try to see first topic. So first topic, it is regarding new hopes on the new Vice President of India and parliamentary democracy. So this is the title. So here you have to know about what is the meaning of this parliamentary democracy. And yesterday's lecture we discussed about our new Vice President, right? So here we have to focus on especially this parliamentary democracy, and this is one important topic in your GS paper 2 under polity. So now let us try to understand this topic. So here, why it is in news? Recently here, as you all know, that Jagdeep Dhankar, he will take oath of 14th Vice President of our country. Okay, so he is going to take oath as 14th Vice President of our country, right? So here, as you all know, who is the earlier Vice President, that is Venkaiah Naidu. So as the candidate of this NDA, that is National Democratic Alliance, he secured about 528 votes out of 710 valid votes. So election is held on Saturday. So in this election, out of the 710 valid votes, he secured about 528 votes. And the Vice President, he is also the chairman of Rajya Sabha. As you all know, who is elected as Vice President? He will be the ex officio member. He is the ex officio member of Rajya Sabha, of chairman of Rajya Sabha. So whoever the person who elected as Vice President, he had to act as chairman of Rajya Sabha. So this is the meaning of this ex officio member. Right, so here Vice President, he is also chairman of Rajya Sabha, and he plays a critical role whenever the sessions are happening in our parliament. And here a critical role any time which played by this chairman of Rajya Sabha in the present situation. So yes, we are seeing some extreme hostility between government and as well as opposition. So in this condition here, Vice President plays an important role. And parliamentary proceedings have been continuously stalled. The members of parliament have been suspended. So recently about 27 MPs, they had been suspended, and we discussed about that topic, right? So here recently members of this parliament, they had been suspended, and we are also seeing there is a continuous or complete breakdown of communication that is seen between this ruling party and as well as opposition parties. And government has repeatedly bypassed this Rajya Sabha in making some critical laws. So if we want to make any law, so here that bill should be passed in Lok Sabha, and after that it should be introduced in the second house and it should be passed in the second house. And whenever that bill, that bill which is placed before our president, and this president will giving the assent, and that bill will becomes law or an act. But what happened? So if we're talking about different types of bills, we have especially ordinary bill. So we have money bill, we have constitutional amendment bill. So in this, what happened in this money bill here, Lok Sabha have more power than compared to that of Rajya Sabha. So Rajya Sabha has no role regarding this passing of money bill. So if at all ruling party or government which want to pass any bill which is important, okay, and whenever it want to bypass this Rajya Sabha, so they are introducing this so and so bill as money bill, okay. So what is the intention? The intention, it is just, okay, it is just to bypass this Rajya Sabha. And this is the one important question that is present before our Supreme Court now. So as Vice President here, Mr. Dhankar, he will be expected to facilitate better relations between ruling party and as well as opposition party, and he need to uphold majesty and as well as constitutional role of the House. So he had some important responsibilities. So it is not an easy task in the current scenario, but his initial moves may be eagerly awaited by everyone invested in the parliamentary democracy. So what is the meaning of this parliamentary system of government? So if you are talking about different types of government, we have presidential system and we have parliamentary system. And in this parliamentary system, it is nothing but executive which is responsible to the legislature. So executive is responsible for the legislature for its policies and as well as acts. And our constitution, that is especially Constitution of India, which provides for this parliamentary form of democracy or for parliamentary form of government at both central level and as well as at the state level. So here finally author says that it is a role of chairman. He need to protect the opposition space, debates, he need to conduct debates, and as well as he need to ensure proper accountability of the executive. Okay, so because of this, inauguration of our new president would renew new hopes in our parliamentary democracy. So this is about this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding abortion services. So this is also editorial which appeared in our today's Hindu. That is a law without a flaw on availing abortion services. So apart from this, so we also have this Commonwealth. So Commonwealth games are going on, right? So in this Commonwealth games, so PV Sindhu, she got gold, and you have to see, yes, India which stand in the 4th position with 22 gold medals. So this is a one important achievement that we can see in the sports. So this article is about abortion law, which is important from our GS paper to under health. And even if you're talking about medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1971, so that will important from our polity and governance point of view, even that comes in the GS paper too. And this topic is exclusively important from your mains. So now let us try to see this topic in detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that Supreme Court said that it may loosen the restrictive grip of 51-year-old abortion law. So in our country, we have one abortion law, that is MTP, Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. Okay, so recently we came with these amendments to this Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 2021. So we have to know what is that Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act earlier and what are the amendments we came up. And we have to see why it is in news. So why it is talking about especially unmarried women. So we need to know all those things. So here Supreme Court said that it may loosen the restrictive grip of 51-year-old Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. So here this MTP Act which bars unmarried women. It bars this unmarried woman from terminating pregnancy which is up to 24 weeks old. So here Supreme Court says that whenever only this unmarried woman she barred means, so it will be like arbitrary and it mainly violates women's right. That is a woman's right to bodily autonomy and as well as dignity. So recently Supreme Court bench, that is Judge D.Y. Chandrachud and J.B. Pardiwala, so they consider that pronouncing a judgment which would put these unmarried women on par with anguished women with less than 20 weeks old of pregnancies who run the danger of suffering the mental breakdown. So whenever these unmarried women, they are not allowed to go for termination of their pregnancy, then what happens, those women, they will be feeling mental breakdown. Because in a society, whenever any unmarried woman, she became pregnant means, yes, you can't hear those words. So whatever the words, they will come into their mouth, so they will be speaking that. So because of this, that will lead to mental breakdown. Okay. So this is the one important thing that you have to know. And if you're talking about what is this Medical Pregnancy Act of 1971 and even what are the recent amendments which came up in this 2021, so that you have to know. So in this Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1971, it only applies to married women. But here recent amendments which also focused on even unmarried women as well. And in this Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, so only we can go for abortion for just 20 weeks. But here it increases to 24 weeks. Okay, for if there is any fetal abnormality which is found means, yes, we can go for abortion even in the 24 weeks. And one registered medical practitioner suggestion is required if you want to go for termination within 12 weeks. And if you want to go for abortion within 20 weeks means, yes, we need suggestions from this two medical medical practitioners suggestions. Okay, two registered medical practitioner suggestions. But if you want to go for abortion of your pregnancy within 12 weeks, only one registered medical practitioner suggestion is required. And if you see in this recent amendment of 2021, so here if you want to go for abortion till 20 weeks, yes, you need just one registered medical practitioner suggestion. Okay, and if you want to go for abortion beyond this 20 weeks and below this 24 weeks, yes, you need two registered medical practitioner suggestions. And even if you want to go for termination of pregnancy after this 24 weeks means, yes, you have to get permission from this medical board as well. So if there is any breach means, yes, fine is there, so it is up to 1000 rupees. And in this recent amendments we have fine along with imprisonment for 1 year. Okay, so these are some important things that you have to know regarding this topic. And if you see background here, so similar situations of unmarried women, okay, if you're talking about especially situations of this unmarried women, so court said that what are the rules you are permitting for the pregnancies, okay, termination of pregnancies up to 24 weeks, that is mainly allowed in 7 specific categories. For example, rape survivors, and if there is any sexual assault is happening, for example, if any minors who are getting pregnant, and in case of any physical disabilities, and in the case of any fetal abnormalities, or if there is any case of, we can say, like fetal malformations. So in this case, we can go for termination of pregnancy up to 24 weeks. So courts also said that here unmarried women whose pregnancy is over 20 weeks may also have to conceive in similarly vulnerable situation. So not only the 7 categories, but even we can also add this unmarried women. So this is the thing which mainly said by this Supreme Court. And next one here is pregnancy within outside the marriage. So what happens, so even now, so we can see there is a live-in relationships that is very much hot topic now, and it's a trendy also, right? So in this live-in relationships, so many a times here women, they get pregnant, right? They get pregnancy. So I also saw one interview of one girl, she became pregnant in this live-in relationship, and after she got pregnant, that person left her. So here what happened, pregnancy will also happens within and outside the marriages. So legislature has not just used the word husband here, but they use the word partner. Okay, so that legislature is not just concerned about the women who undergone pregnancy within marriage, but even they covered out of this marriage, outside of this marriage also, because the medical risk which is very much equal or same for both married and as well as unmarried women. And next one here is section 3 of this Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. So in this section 3 of this 1971 Act, which allows women who are less than 20 weeks of pregnant to terminate if they had conceived due to failure of family planning devices. Okay, so if there is any failure of this family planning devices, for example, in women they go for vasectomy. That means, so here, for example, this is a uterus, and this is cervix, and this is a vagina. So these are the tubes, okay, and this will be the ovary here, and this will be the fallopian tube, and we have ovary here. So what happened in men, so these will be the testis, and this will be the vas deferens. So through this vas deferens, so these sperms, they will be coming. So what happened if you are talking about especially family planning, so in women they will be going for the clamping of these tubes or cutting of these tubes, that is called as tubectomy. But in male also we can go for family planning, so that is the cutting of this vas deferens, okay, vasectomy in males and tubectomy in females. So if there is any failure of this family planning device which happened, means yes, they can go for abortion, that is termination of their pregnancy under this section 3 of Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. So the law presumes that such a pregnancy would be a cause of mental agonism and constitute a grave injury to the mental health of pregnant women. So why they are allowing this abortion? Because especially, so whenever women, she do not want to get pregnant, or she do not want to have a baby, or whenever she is not ready to have a baby, whenever she knows that she is pregnant, means yes, there will be a grave injury to the mental health of that so and so pregnant woman. Okay, so this is about this topic, and you have to remember tubectomy in women and vasectomy in men. And now let us try to see the main question on this topic. So though women in post-independent India have excited in various fields, the social attitude towards women and feminist movement has been patriarchal. Apart from women education, women empowerment schemes, so what interventions can help to change this, Mailu? So this is the question which happened in which occurred in this 2021. So try to answer this question and try to think on this question. So now let us try to say next topic. It is regarding after weeks of disruptions, monsoon session of parliament ends ahead of schedule. So this article which is talking about ending of schedule, okay, ending of the session of parliament. So if we're talking about parliament sessions, we have these three sessions: BMW, budget session, monsoon session, and as well as winter session. So what is the time period of this budget session, monsoon session, and winter session? So let me know which is the longest session and which is the shortest session of this budget, monsoon, and winter in the comment box. So you need to know that, right? So this article is important from your GS paper to under polity. So now let us try to see this topic in detail. So if you see why it is in news, so here the monsoon session of parliament, okay, monsoon session of parliament witnessed suspension of 27 MPs. Already we discussed this. So in this monsoon session, about 27 MPs had been suspended. And we are seeing there is a controversy over this Rashtrapati remark. And this one here is even ED, that is Enforcement Directorate, came up summons are issued by this ED to the opposition leaders as well. And we discussed about this privileges for these members of parliament. Okay, so privilege will not be there for this criminal cases, only for the civil cases they will be have this privileges. So already we discussed that regarding this ED summons to this opposition leaders. So because of this, now what happened, there is a lot of disruptions that are mainly seen in this parliamentary proceedings, and there are weeks of disruptions over price rise, unemployment, etc. And finally here our parliamentary session which had been adjourned sine die on Monday. So what is the meaning of this adjournment or adjourned sine die? So adjourned sine die means dismissing of the sitting of the parliament for an unspecified period. So there is no date which is given. We are going to meet again on this so and so date. That is called as adjournment sine die. So simply what is the meaning of adjournment means, yes, at finally the presiding officer of the house, they says that yes, this session is completed and we are going to meet in the next session on this so and so day, on this so and so time. So that is called as simple adjournment. So adjournment sine die means there will be no declarement of specified period when they are going to meet again. That means that is nothing but the house is suspended without naming the day for reassembly. So this is known as adjournment sine die. So authority of this adjournment sine die lies with the presiding officer of the house. So if you see some details, it mainly says that while monsoon was scheduled to be in session until this August 12th, so here what happened, they had 2 working days holidays, that is on Muharram, and next one is Raksha Bandhan. So what happened, so before this itself there was adjournment that is seen in this session of parliament. So Lok Sabha saw a total of 16 sittings and it lasted for 44 hours and 29 minutes. And if you see Rajya Sabha, which mainly met for just 33 hours, okay, 33 hours. So because of this disruptions, there is a lot of discussions are not had been held, and there is no proper debate in these houses. So session, it was characterized by regular and continuous disruptions which deprived the members of opportunity to discuss the matters of urgent public importance and even to seek the accountability of executives through the questions. So there is no proper questions and there is no proper question hour, and even they didn't discuss about the topics of public importance. Okay, so this is about this topic, and let me know what is your opinion. And now let us try to say next topic. It is regarding United Nations chief urges nuclear powers to abide by no first use pledge. So this article is very important and we have to know about what is this no first use policy. So this article will be important from your GS paper to under international relations, and this topic will be important from both your prelims and your mains. So now let us try to see context. So if you see context, it mainly says that United Nations Secretary General on August urged countries with nuclear weapons to stick to no first use policy. So here United Nations Secretary General on August urged number of countries who are having these nuclear weapons that yes, they need to stick to this no first use commitment for atomic arsenals. And here this United Nations Secretary General also warned that nuclear arms race has returned amid growing international tensions. So this is the context why it is in use. So if you see details, it mainly says that so this is the moment to ask these nuclear armed countries to commit to the principles of no first use and to commit not to use and not threaten these new non-nuclear countries. So here United Nations mainly said that yes, this is the time came now, and we can urge these countries which are having these nuclear weapons not to use this against these non-nuclear countries. So there are some fears of third atomic bombing that have been on rise because recently Russia threatens a nuclear attack since its war on Ukraine began in February. So what is this no first use policy? So if you are talking about this no first use policy, that means if one country which used nuclear bomb on another country, then only the second country need to use this nuclear weapon. So this is the meaning of this no first use policy. We are not going to use this nuclear weapons first. So if there is any country which is attacking us, means yes, we will be going for retaliation. So if we are talking about what is this nuclear non-proliferation treaty. So this treaty which signed in year 1968 and this treaty which came into force in 1970, and it has now 190 member states, and it requires country to give up any present or future plans to build nuclear weapons in return for the access to peaceful uses of nuclear energy. So actually this nuclear proliferation treaty which signed in year 1968 and this treaty which entered into the force in 1970. So it mainly says that countries to give up any present or future plans to build the nuclear weapons. And what are the three important objectives of this non-proliferation treaty? First one is non-proliferation, next one is disarmament, and as well as right to peacefully, use this nuclear weapons peacefully or nuclear technology peacefully. So actually India is one of the 5 countries didn't even sign this NPT, but even India withdrawn from this NPT. So those 5 countries includes Pakistan, Israel, North Korea and South Sudan along with India. So this is about this topic, and now let us try to see next topic. Title says, do new Forest Act rules dilute rights of up for scrutiny? So this article which is mainly talking about Forest Act. So this article will be important from your GS paper 3 under environment and ecology, and even from your polity point of view which comes under your GS paper 2. So now let us try to see why it is in news. Recently NCST, that is National Commission for Scheduled Tribes, it had formed an expert committee, and this committee which is going to study one subject, that is regarding new rules notified under this Forest Conservation Act, and how it is going to dilute the rights of these forest dwellers. So you have to know what is this committee, and this topic is very important. And if you are talking about details, so National Commission for Scheduled Tribes has formed an expert committee, and this committee which had been chaired by this Ananta Nayak. Ananta Nayak, he is member of this National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. So if you are talking about this National Committee, National Commission for the Scheduled Tribes, so it is a constitutional body, and it has been added to this 89th Constitutional Amendment Act of 2003, and with this amendment which added one article 338A of our Indian Constitution, and this commission which also mandated to oversee the implementation of various safeguards provided for the scheduled tribes under this constitution. And actually, so this commission will also examine the new rules notified under this Forest Conservation Act, and this committee will also examine this forest regulation Forest Regulation Act, okay, and even it also focuses on other important issues of this scheduled tribes. Actually, these scheduled tribes, they live in the forest areas, right? So because of this, yes, they also become the part of our society. Yes, we need to also focus on their rights and we need to protect their culture, right? So here, because of this, we came with this National Commission for the Scheduled Tribes, and we added Article 338A of Indian Constitution, and they focus especially on the safeguarding of this scheduled tribes, and they focus on how these new rules which are going to affect this scheduled tribes under this Forest Conservation Act. Okay, so if you move forward, it mainly says that what are these forest conservation rules? Actually, these conservation rules which mainly deals with the implementation of this Forest Conservation Act of 1980, and they prescribe especially the procedure to be followed for the forest land to be diverted for the non-forest uses. So how this forest land which is diverted for this non-forest uses, for example, you can talk about road construction. If you are coming up with any developmental projects, for example, railways, roadways, etc., and even how you are giving permission for this mining in these areas. And if you are talking about especially the broad objectives of this Forest Conservation Act, so they are focusing on especially the protecting the forest and wildlife, and they focuses on forest land and how commercial projects are affecting the livelihood of these scheduled tribes, and they strive to increase the areas under this forest. And for the forest land which is beyond this 5 hectares, they are focusing on approval for diverting land, okay, and even they are focusing on constituting a committee, okay, that is called as Forest Advisory Committee. So these are some important facts. And now let us move on to next topic. It is regarding amid rising global food prices, Prime Minister asks states to set up farm output. So this article is very important. Okay, actually recently this Niti Aayog 7th Governing Council meet held. So in that meet, what are the highlights which are given in this article? That's it. And this topic is important from your GS paper to under governance point of view. So if you see context, it mainly says that Prime Minister Modi urged states at this Niti Aayog Governing Council meet to set up domestic production, and we need to focus on especially India should be self-sufficient, and India should fight against this food insecurity, and we need to focus on malnutrition, okay, and we need to become a global leader in this farm sector. So these are some important things which were said by our Prime Minister in the 7th Governing Council meet of Niti Aayog. So if you see some details, it mainly says that in this 7th meeting of this Niti Aayog's Governing Council, so they focused on some important things, okay. So if you're talking about key highlights, they focused on especially crop diversification. He mainly said that we need to move from this water intensive crops to water less intensive crops. And this meeting discussed the ways to bring down the dependence on this imported edible oils from around 50% to 20%. How can we decrease our dependence on these imports? And whenever we are going for this crop diversification, whenever we are going for, instead of growing of rice and sugarcane, we can go for growing of this oil seeds. Yes, we can become self-sufficient in this edible oil as well. So they also focused on increased production of some pulses that will helpful mainly to get good in this malnutrition, okay, and we can provide proper health security and as well as nutrition security for the people. And India's import dependence on this pulses, if you see, it is much lesser. It is just 7 to 8%. So we are mainly getting imports of this masoor dal and as well as arhar in the country. And this one here is, we can also go for implementation of this national education policy, that is NEP, and urban governance. So these are some important things that are mainly said in this meet, and these are some key highlights. So if you're talking about the demand made by the states, so what are the demands that are made by the states? So already we studied so what is the composition of this governing council in the yesterday's lecture. So it contains the chief ministers, right? So here from the various states, also chief ministers and opposition ruled states, they raised some issues. For example, MSP, okay, for the farm output, and they said about the shortage of IAS officers and GST exemptions and higher allocation of funds for the states and adequate consultation with the states on some few policy issues. And these are some important issues that are mainly raised by some of the chief ministers of opposition party. And if you're talking about a few states, they also called for extension of this compensation of this GST shortfall, and especially Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, he pointed out that states should potentially suffering from the losses. Okay, so because of this, there is a need for extension of this compensation under this GST. And also one more important demand here is legislation on concurrent list and the state list. So several chief ministers also said that legislation on the subjects in the concurrent list, they should be initiated only after adequate consultation with the states. So after consultation with the states only, they can come up with any legislation in the subjects in the concurrent list. So as you all know, according to this Schedule 7 of Indian Constitution, we have three lists: list 1, list 2 and list 3. So list 1 contains union list, list 2 contains state list, and list 3 contains concurrent list. So in this concurrent list here, if you want to make any laws in the subjects of this concurrent list, so central has the power and state has the power. In the central list, only central government which has the power to make laws, and the state list, only the state government have the power to make the laws. But in this concurrent list, in the list 3 of the Schedule 7, yes, both central and the state, they have the power. So whenever central government which is taking some decisions to come up with the laws in this concurrent list, yes, several chief ministers, they said that they had to be also consulted. So these are some important things which are given in this article. And now let us move on to next topic. It is regarding Parwas scheme, that is market linkage scheme. Market linkage scheme Parwas possesses tremendous potential for uplifting this economic conditions of farmers across this Jammu and Kashmir. So this article is very important. And now let us try to see what is this article talking about. And you can get a question like, so recently this Parwas seen in news, so what it is related to. So in this way also you can expect a question in your prelims. So if you see here why it is in news, recently one innovative market linkage scheme, and this scheme is Parwas, which possesses tremendous potential for uplifting this economic conditions of farmers across this Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. So it is mainly seen in only Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. They came up with this innovative market linkage scheme, that is Parwas. So if you see some details, it mainly says that this scheme which was launched by government, an important aim of this scheme, it is to create market linkage support. Okay, it is focusing on market linkage support for the shipment of agriculture and horticulture perishables. So it is focusing on agriculture and horticulture perishables. So perishables means nothing but vegetables, fruits, flowers, so they cannot be stored for the longer period of time, unlike this rice, grains, etc. So under this scheme, about 25% of subsidy that will be given on this freight charges. Freight means nothing but whatever the vehicles that we are using for the transportation, okay, which are mainly carrying these perishable fruits harvested in this Jammu and Kashmir, okay, and even through air cargo, etc. So if you see further more details here, Jammu and Kashmir Horticulture Produce Marketing and Processing Corporation. So it is an implementing agency. So it is an implementing agency, that is Jammu and Kashmir Horticulture Produce Marketing and Processing Corporation. And this scheme, it is regularly creating awareness among the farmers, okay, so that they can have the potential to use this scheme, right? So it will be benefited for the farmers itself. So this is about this topic in detail, and these are some important current affairs that I collected from Hindu and as well as Times of India, Indian Express, PIB. Okay, so by this we completed this analysis, and now let us try to see some prelims practice questions. So the question is regarding this Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 2021. Consider the following statements. So first one is the opinion of two registered medical practitioner for the termination of pregnancy up to 20 weeks. Only one. Okay, if you want to go for more than this 24 or between this 20 to 24, yes, we have two. So this statement is incorrect, and this act does not cover unmarried women. So unmarried women, it is not covered in this 1971 act, but in 2021 act, yes, it's covered. So this is also incorrect. So you have to choose the correct statements, that is neither one nor two. So in this way you can expect questions in your prelims. And now let us try to see vocabulary part. Arbitrary means nothing but based on random choice and personal whims and fancies rather than any reason. So there is no reason, but we are going for just selecting based on the random choice. And this one is exhort. Exhort means strongly encourage or to urge to do something. To do something, we are saying that we are exhorting, okay, exhorted. Next one is terminate, means to bring to an end. Okay, so this is about this vocabulary. So actually there is no PDF of Hindu today, so because of this I am not going to show the Hindu PDF. So I am extremely sorry for that, because I can't do anything, because Hindu itself had not been published this newspaper today. So by this I am concluding. So before that, I want to make a small announcement. We in Rathod Science, we came up with this prelims test series, and this test series had been started on this August 7th. So we are providing 30 tests along with this CSAT. And the cost of this prelims test series, it is just 3,000 rupees with a validity of 1 year. So you can join this course and it's exclusively beneficial for you. And apart from that, we also came up with this mains answer writing practice course of 1 year. And here we are going to give you daily and weekly targets, and daily one question will be given and you have to write answer, and that answer you have to send to our mail ID in the form of PDF, so that the evaluation of your answer will be done, right? And there will be live class, live interaction will be there on every Sunday at 7 o'clock, and the cost of this mains answer writing practice is just 8,200 rupees for 1 year. So it is a very beneficial, it is also very affordable. And apart from that, we also launched a foundational course for UPSC CIS 2023-2024, and this is also very beneficial. We are providing like more than 600 hours of video classes, and every topic is covered there, okay, with a very clarity, okay, and you can get 100% concept clarity after watching all those videos. And if you want to take the single module, like if you are weak in only economy, only history, only polity, ethics, geography, you can take the single modules also. So if you want to purchase any course in our Rathod Science, you can visit our website rathodscienceacademy.com. there you have to log in with your email ID, and later on you can click on the course list and you can see wide range of courses that we are providing, and you can do payment in the website itself, okay. So if you have any queries, you can call me on this number 8074765513, okay. So by this I'm concluding. So if you are new to this channel, so try to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon so that you will be getting notifications whenever we are uploading a new video. And one more thing here is, if you want to get the PDF of this class, you can join the Telegram channel, link is given in the description box. And finally, try to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.